How y'all doing, guys? This is episode 2 of Scrolling with Charlie with my beautiful wife and assistant, Karen. Just had Sterling Davis join us. He's probably still hooking up all his little stuff. And we have John Schaffner and, oh, crap, and Gene Tamgard, something like that. I'm sorry. And we have Deanna. Deanna I haven't heard from yet, so I don't know if she has a microphone. Well, the heck of a way to start, wasn't it? Stuttering all over myself. Alrighty then. Hopefully, Deanna can get something going. While I have two people that I know that their cams and mics work, I will do roll call with them. Just tell everybody what you do, how they can reach you on social media, and if you're a beginner wanting to know things, or if you're here to answer questions for other scrollers. I know Sterling Davis is here. He's probably just getting ready, but I'm going to go with the way ordered is on my screen, and that would be Gene. Gene, please unmute yourself before answering, and we will just tell everybody all about it.
Well, I'm just a apprentice beginner stroller. I've been strolling for, well, longer than what I think what my age shows. I started strolling back in the 50s, and then I gave it up for about 40 years and started over again. So I'm an apprentice. I live here in West Plains, Missouri, and retired lineman for a utility company.
So you've been doing this a little while.
Yes, I have.
Alrighty, great to know. So you'll probably be available for many questions. I only deal in spiral blades, so that's my limitations on that. But we're going to go with John now. Don't forget to unmute yourself, please, sir. Tell everybody all about yourself and just all that stuff.
All that stuff. All right, I'm John Schaffner, Canastota, New York, which is the home of the Boxing Hall of Fame. I've been scrolling since 86 or 87. Been woodworking for 40 years plus. That's really about it. I don't have any social media other than Facebook under my own name. Don't have any web channels or YouTubers yet. Contemplating doing some YouTube videos. So we'll see how that pans out.
Alrighty. Don't have any questions coming in the question area yet, so I'll just try to wing it. Deanna or Sterling, are y'all set up to talk and or be on webcam yet? Yes, not. Hopefully Sterling can get set up. I know he has the right equipment, but he probably is cussing right now trying to figure it out. Okay. Deanna, feel free to write things in the chat area if you have any questions and or comments, or if you want to tell us about you. But while you're doing that, since you have to type, I will just move on to a topic, and hopefully Sterling will get the technical side put down. I'm going to just go down the line. I have some sporadic notes here, but as a general first question, I'm going to ask, do you have a preference or a passion in the scroll sawing community, whether it be intarsia, fretwork, your standard simple designs, or compound cutting? And okay, we have Sterling Davis aboard, so I'll go ahead and let him unmute himself and introduce himself, as well as answer the question since I'm going to him anyway.
What's the question?
Who are you and what do you want?
Yeah, who you are, how people can find you in social media, and the official question was, where does your passion tend to lead when it comes to scroll sawing? Is it intarsia, fretwork, your basic designs, or compound cutting?
Well, first, I guess I'll introduce myself. I'm Sterling Davis with Sterling's Woodcrafts. I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a fine woodworker. I just enjoy getting out in the garage and piddling with wood and creating things. As far as the scroll saw goes, I don't know that I've got a particular forte, I guess, of the scroll saw. I just enjoy learning everything about it right now. I just did this little, my last video I did of the card stand, and I've done a few portraits, but I guess basic patterns from mainly from books, from like your craft and Klingspors, woodcraft stores, most publicized books. Right now, I'm just doing patterns from them, just learning really.
Oops, I was muted myself. For anybody that doesn't know, Sterling has been around a while. He's got his own channel. I think he listed that. If not, you're welcome to throw that in, Sterling. I don't remember.
No, this is my first time on, but I'd be glad to list it.
No, I meant, did you want to tell people what your channel is on YouTube?
You can find me at Sterling Davis on YouTube and Sterling's Woodcrafts on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter and Pinterest as Sterling Davis. Real basic.
Okay, so basically, if anybody knows the name Sterling Davis, they can find you pretty much anywhere. Okay, for anybody that just tuned in, Deanna Dalton does not have a webcam or mic, but she can chat. So in the chat section, that's what I'm reading right now. She does segmentation, small fret ornaments, mostly animal themed, and animal puzzles. So, that being done, babe, do you have a preference? No, my wife does not scroll, but if she had more time, she probably could. If you're just joining us, this is my wonderful wife and assistant, Karen Deering. Okay, the next question in line, and then again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll look in the Q&A section. So far, there are none. We have 5 viewers. Next in line on questions is, oh, I didn't let John or Jean answer that last question. I'm doing real good so far. John, why don't you tell us where your passion is, whether it be intarsia, fretworks, your basic designs, or compound cutting, and don't forget to unmute yourself, please, sir.
Well, I do more fretwork and stuff than anything else. Little box, I don't know if you can really see it too well. It's kind of a tray that this is I believe I got this from Steve Good. Took me, well, an hour and a half or so to cut that out. And
It's very nice.
Christmas ornaments, 3D Christmas ornaments I've done. I think that's a Steve Good pattern. These little Christmas ornaments I got, and don't know where they came from. They're layered. I got, I think, 1/4 inch Hadouk, and with a Baltic birch overlay, 2-sided, both sides done. Oh, let's see what else I got. These little trinket boxes.
Ah, okay.
Pretty nice. These are another Steve Good pattern, I think. I do a lot of Steve Good stuff. I mean, his patterns are really nice, easy, relatively easy, just enjoyable to do.
Absolutely. I appreciate your answer. I think Steve Good, for lack of a better set of words to use, is I think he's a godsend in the scroll sawing community. He gives so much, doesn't ask for much at all back. And he promotes people without asking for anything back, and it's just, I hope to have him on the show someday as a special guest. Hans Hartman just joined us. I'll get to you in just a second, Hans. Jean, if you would like to answer that question, I'll repeat it because we've done a few little talking since then. Do you prefer intarsia, pretty intricate fretwork, standard basic cutting, or compound cutting?
Well, I just about, the only thing I haven't done is intarsia. And I do have 3 projects, intarsia projects, that I was going to start about, probably 10 years ago. They're still sitting in the box.
Yeah.
But I'll take and do 3D cutting, anything, And like a lot of these Christmas ornaments, 3D Christmas ornaments, I'll take and reduce them down as small as I can make them. I don't go original. I try to reduce everything down. Just
All
to
right.
make it. So, but I'll tackle anything.
I haven't touched Intarsia yet, and I think it's because I get in enough trouble leaving enough sawdust. If I add another portion to the hobby, I'll have different colored sawdust, and my wife will just love me. She's putting on a smile right now, but the horns are up under that hair. I'm telling you, she loves those messes I leave behind. Hans, you want to try and see if your sound and everything is working, and if so, tell us where you're about you, where people can find you, and then I'll re-ask the question that I've just asked everybody else.
Hi, Charlie, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Let me try to bring your volume up.
Can you hear me now?
Barely. I got your volume all the way up. Hope we can catch you.
You're all broken up too. It must be the connection here, Charles. I'm a long way from you.
Okay, if you don't feel silly, try to yell. Try to yell when you talk. I'll be able to hear you.
I live alone. I can yell if I want. Okay, I've been scrolling since I was 8 years old, and really enjoy the hobby. I do it strictly for a hobby. I enjoy doing it for work, as that is what it will become. I've been actually listening to you all along. I just couldn't get on to join up with you. So, but was there any questions I missed out on?
No. The first one was, you have if you don't mind yelling, an echo feedback. So while I'm asking, mute your microphone, and when I get done asking, then you can unmute the answer. Thank you. The question is, do you have a preference of Intarsia, intricate fretwork, standard, you could call it basic patterns, we're not too much detail, or compound cutting? And don't forget to unmute yourself, please, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, I really enjoy very intricate fretwork. That's one of my favorite parts. I do portraits. I enjoy building things more than anything else, like bridges and bird cages and that kind of stuff. Picture frames more than just portraits, but I do portraits too. You can also get a hold of me on Facebook. That's pretty well the only media I use.
And your last name is B-I-E-R-M-A-N?
B-I-E-R-M-A-N.
Okay, and his first name is spelled H-A-N-S for anybody who wants to find him on Facebook. Okay, yeah, Deanna already answered the questions, so we have nothing in the chat area, so I'm going to go down the line starting with Sterling again. And this is a relatively basic question, but well, I don't know if I answered the question. I might as well. My preference is intricacy. I love detail, but I've done standard things, but to me it kind of bores me quickly, and that's not a downing of any other designers that do simpler designs. It's just I love to challenge myself, but I've never done compound cutting. I've never tried Intarsia. But moving on to the next question to keep it from being dragged out is, do you have a speed preference on your scroll saw? I mean, do you turn it all the way up, or do you just play it by ear by the project you're doing? And Sterling, I'll go with you first if you're ready to answer.
Yeah, I just leave it wide open, to be honest with you. If I'm doing something that's softer wood, I'll turn it down, or if I've got some real fine, intricate corners to do, I'll slow it down a little bit. But most of the time, I leave it all the way up.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I do it. To me, it's easier when it's all the way up, because that wood, anybody watching this never scroll saw, that wood won't go into that blade any harder than you push it. So if you're afraid to go fast, don't go fast. You can have the speed all the way up, but you still control how far it goes into that blade. John, would you like to, do you have a speed preference when you're scroll sawing, or do you have a single speed scroll saw?
I've got the DeWalt 788, and 99% of the time I use it 50 to 75% up to full speed. I rarely use full speed because I cut a lot of thinner stuff, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, 1/8 inch. Unless I'm back cutting, then I'll turn it up a little more. But generally, I don't cut anything over 1/2 inch, so I don't really need this big speed. I use, speed appropriate to what the wood is, I believe.
Okay, I appreciate you answering that. Your volume was a little low, and I have you all the way up on my end, so you may want to check your settings. Hopefully everybody was able to hear you. Gene, you're next in line, then we'll go with Hans. Do you have a speed preference when you're doing your cutting?
Oh, usually I run it around like, I believe John said it, I got a DeWalt 788, and I run it 35% speed, and that once in a while I'll slow it down, and if I get into, if I'm just cutting a single 1/8 inch and got some real fine areas or something, and I would say that 99% of my cutting, I use a 2/0 blade. Very seldom do I go in and change any other blade.
Yeah.
Even when I cut 3/4 inch stuff and that, I still use a 2/0 blade.
I've always stuck with number 3 and number 5, and I've always stuck with spirals. He said something else, but I got distracted in the background noise-wise, so I don't remember what I was going to say about that. But the speed. Oh, the thickness of the wood you were talking about. I try not to go any thicker than 1/2 inch because to me it's more of a strain on the blade and you get done quicker. But maybe I'm just taking the easy way out. But not to leave anyone out, Deanna, if you'll start typing, you may already have. Typing in the chat area. She tends to cut slow and steady. She has trouble staying on the line when things cut like butter, probably mid to 3/4 speed. Okay, thank you for that. And, okay, the next person, thank you, Deanna. The next person in line would be Hans. And Hans, what is your speed preference?
Great. I generally don't go over about 50% of the speed. Simply because I use a very cheap material here, and the plywood has a lot of voids in it. By going wide open, if you hit one of those voids, you're right across the whole sheet. So it's much better just to slow it down so you have more control. Also with spirals, I tend to go a little slower than I do with the other blades.
Alrighty, I appreciate you answering that. And any viewers, I do have the Q&A working this time for anybody that was watching last week. I enabled it, made sure. So if any viewers have any questions, feel free to ask those, and I will ask them the second I see them pop up. And we have 2 questions on YouTube, is why I'm looking off to the side. We have a laptop with my beautiful wife. Nick Perry says, hey buddy, and hey Nick, why don't you come on in? Maybe you can teach us something or ask questions. Pretend you actually want to scroll saw, buddy. I'd love to have you on the show. Donna Presley, thank you for writing. She says, has anyone tried the new spiral blades from Mike Morlock, which is Flying Dutchman? If so, wondering how they compare to the other spiral blades. Was everybody able to hear me when I asked that? If so, to give me a thumbs up. Okay, good deal. We got a lot of thumbs in the room. Okay, Nick, get your butt in here and ask some questions now. Come on, baby. Now, so I'll go down the line again. Sterling, have you tried Flying Dutchman's new spiral blades?
I haven't tried Flying Dutchman. I haven't been online to order them. I get most of my scroll saw blades from Clean Spores, which they sell Olsen blades, okay. Which that's the only blade I've ever used. I do want to try Flying Dutchman. I just hadn't took the time to order them. So.
He's a great guy. I mean, I won't tell anybody what preference to have, but once I find a product I like, I'm very loyal to them. So I've always gone Flying Dutchman. And I hope I didn't cut you off, Sterling, did I?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay. Alrighty, we're going to go next to John. Don't forget to unmute yourself. Have you tried the new spirals from Flying Dutchman yet?
I have not. I'm mainly flat blades. I've used the spiral a couple of times, had problems with control, but that's a problem with me, not the blade, I would tell you. The new ones, I believe, are what, flat end?
Flat end, no, those I've been using for God knows how long, but I don't know the specifics on the new one.
I don't know. I just find the spirals, for me, I just have problems with them. I'm gonna try them again. I've got a couple out there in the shop, so I'll give them a try again and see what happens.
Alrighty, I appreciate that. Oh, I just had something in my head. Oh, I've been told that the new spirals last longer, is why I was recommended by Mike Morlock himself to try them. So I may do that. I went with flat ended because I didn't like having to untwist the ends to get them in the clamps. Mr. Gene, have you tried the new spirals from Flying Dutchman?
No, and I don't think I will. I am deaf against spiral blades. I have used them, and very seldom, but I did use them one time on a project. I cut out 3 wolf seeds in a 9-foot piece of cherry that was an inch and 8 thick. Otherwise, I'm strictly a flat blade, 2/0 blade person.
Do you have a go-to blade supplier? I mean, like brand name Olson, Pegas, or Flying Dutchman?
I take my business between Flying Dutchman and Olson.
Alrighty. There's been times I've been, now Mike Morlock, I keep using his name. His website is mikesworkshop.com. He has good pricing, but every now and then I'm desperate and I waited too long to order. So every now and then I'll go to Lowe's, the Home Depot, and they don't even have a name brand. But those work in a pinch. But Hans, have you tried the new ones, and or do you have a preference in brand of blade? Don't forget to unmute yourself, please, sir.
How's that? No, I haven't tried the new ones yet. I only get my blades once a year whenever I fly out to Canada from here. And locally I can't buy any spiral blades at all. So I'm pretty much stuck with my year's supply, and I'm sad to say I'm almost out, and I don't know who's going to send me the blades. Mike won't send me any blades, so I may have to turn to Olson, I don't know.
I think your supply would depend on how often somebody does for me. Your supply would probably fill up a whole kitchen drawer. I love you.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, I'm jealous of that. Okay, let me see if Deanna ever answered that question. I don't remember if she may have answered just now. Just bought some. Can't wait to try them. This is from Deanna Dalton. I can't see past my own face. Can't wait to try them. Have never used a spiral, so will be something new. You make it look so easy, and I've been using Flying Dutchman for a while now. Thank you for that compliment. Once you've gotten used to it, it is easy, and I don't mean that arrogantly, but I mean it's so second nature. If I went to flat blades, y'all would crack up laughing at me trying to scroll. I would look like somebody that's never touched a scroll saw. Yeah. Okay. We're not getting any viewer questions, but we do have 7 viewers. Y'all are welcome to ask questions, unless I screwed up something. But the Q&A show's open to me. Okay. To all of you, of course. What do you want to do but haven't done that can be done with a scroll saw? We'll start with you again, Sterling.
Oh, wow. What can I do? What do I want to do that I haven't done? I just bought another book from Klingspors yesterday, as a matter of fact. It's a box, a lot like John just showed on his scroll, but it's a keepsake box, and it's scrolled on all sides. But what I'd like to do with the scroll is actually put a board on the bottom of it and do like either some kind of a inlay, like an epoxy glitter inlay into that. I've seen a couple of those, and those look really nice.
Yeah, they for what it's worth, when it comes to inlays, I don't know if you've heard of using clay as an inlay, but Steve Good has a video on that, I believe, and his username on YouTube is SD Good. If you wanted to look into that avenue of potential inlay materials, it's not wood, it's clay, but it can be cooked in and sanded off, and it's really unique, especially if you want to go with a certain color there. But
I'm like John. I started off working with Steve Good's patterns, and I've just I love his patterns. They're easy to work with, and he's a great guy. And I like his work.
Me too. I hope I can get him on the show at some point as a special guest. I mean, I appreciate all of y'all being here and all of you viewers. I don't want to skip anybody, so let's go back to John. John, do you have what have you not done on a scroll saw but want to do on a scroll saw, or are you content with what you're doing? And did I lose you? Talk to me, John. Okay, we may have lost John, but when John comes back, I'll get back to him. Let's run on over to Mr. Gene. What have you not done on a scroll saw that you would like to try?
I think I've just about tried everything. I've scrolled out some glass. I've done copper. I've done acrylic plastic. I've done reams of paper. I don't know what else I can do.
It sounds like you've done everything. The strangest thing I've ever done on a scroll saw was I was impatient and I cut a package of frozen hamburger meat in half with it because I didn't need the whole thing, and I didn't want to wait on it to thaw out because I was on a timeline. I'm not the smartest guy in the tool shed, but anyway. But if it works, it works. But John is back up, so John, if you want to ask, is there something you haven't done on a scroll saw that you want to do?
I haven't done any intarsia. It kind of intrigues me on the different colors of woods and the rounded edges and all that stuff, and kind of like a jigsaw puzzle with depth or something. I wouldn't mind trying that sometime. I've got some intarsia patterns, but I'm still building up my inventory of different colors of woods. I got reds, I've got yellows, I've got whites, I've got browns. In order to do anything other than that, I probably have to stain something up, and I'm not too much into staining. So.
Oh God, I'm not either. I don't even like to stain personally. But by the way, Gene and John both, I have y'all's microphone feed all the way up. So if y'all can check on your end to see if y'all are all the way up on your end when it comes to your microphones. Hopefully everybody can hear y'all better than I'm able to, but luckily I'm just barely able to squeak through and hear y'all.
I've got mine all the way, so.
Okay, so hopefully we can hear you. Hans, did I already ask you this?
Not yet. Okay, there's two things I would like to do. One would be inlay work. I've never tried it. And the other one would be ostrich shells. Shells of eggs, like ostrich eggs. I've seen it done, and I've seen them engraved and all that. I've never tried it. I'd really like to do that.
Yeah, the inlay thing, there's woodworking specific ways of doing it, non-scroll saw, and there's also, and then, again, for this is anybody that doesn't know, it's done at a bevel. You have two pieces of wood, and I'm going to screw up describing this. This is there again, SD Good, Steve Good on YouTube has a good tutorial on it, as well as Country Scroller. He's done a few of them. It's two pieces of wood, and you set your table at a 2 or 3 degree angle. They can give you better specifics than I can. It's a test run to determine what angle works best. But the piece you want to inlay into one, okay, you put organize yourself, Charlie. Okay, let's say you have a piece of light wood and you want to inlay a dark piece of wood into it. You put the dark wood on top, and you tape it or glue it, however you want to do it, to the lighter wood on bottom, and you tilt that table, and if you have it at the right angle, that piece that you cut out the top one will fall into the hole in the bottom when you get rid of the bottom one that got cut out. And if you get the angle just right, it'll sit right in there, and you can sand it flush if they're slightly proud. It's just, I've yet to try that, and I don't think I'm scared of it. I just think I need to get out there and try it. But Country Scroller and Steve Good both make it look so bloody easy, and I guess I'm scared to try it. Oh, and one thing I wanted to do, there's no occasion for this. This is a little bit of a down topic, but I would like to mention some people we've lost in the scroll sawing community, and this is sort of a tribute to them. We recently lost Dirk Bowman. For anybody that's familiar with him, he has quite a few designs out there. Him and his wife Karen work together. He has a site called theartfactory.com, I believe, and I just can't say enough about that guy. I think he was a pioneer, and I still consider him a pioneer. I mean, even if somebody passes, I still think they are a tribute to the community. There was a gentleman named Frank that actually died while on Facebook, and I feel so bad that I do not remember his last name, but he was a great loss to many people because I didn't know him personally, is why I can't recall his last name. And another older, he didn't advertise as much recently, but a guy named Tom Mullane, he went by Old Grizz. That was a sad loss for me because I used to talk to him all the time, and I hadn't heard from him, and I heard he passed away. But I hope I didn't bring the show down because of that. But did any of y'all have a? Never mind. I have a quick question. I'm sorry if that brought the show down. I just felt I wanted to mention their names because of how much they meant to me in the scroll sawing community. And I have another question. And then if y'all want to comment on those names I listed off, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. The question again is from Donna Presley. She says, has anyone, what backing do you use for your portraits? For me, I just paint wood black because I think felt makes it look cheap. That's just my personal opinion, but I guess I'll ask Mr. Sterling Davis, do you have a comment on the names I just listed, and or what do you use for backing on your scroll work?
Most of it I just use the construction paper, but I've started using rice paper. So I've never used wood. I haven't done anything large enough to do wood to the back of it. So most of it's either construction paper or felt paper. I have used felt a lot, and rice paper.
I think I'd have better luck framing my work if I didn't use wood, because my wood is the same thickness as a wood, and that means you got to find a frame that it sets in deep, and I'm not a frame maker. I need to get on that. And were you familiar with any of the names that I listed that passed away, I believe, within the last year or two?
I was not. I hate for the losses, but I've just been really following the last 8 months. As you know, just recently started my YouTube channel, so within this year is where I've really got more involved with it. So I'm not familiar with as many. Like I said, Steve Good was really the first one I went to, and found you through YouTube, Facebook. So I didn't know the other gentleman.
Alrighty, and I'm sorry if I put any of y'all on the spot feeling like you have to comment on that. I guess I wanted to give y'all that opening if you did want to say something regarding one of those people. And I'll repeat the question as well as give everybody a chance to mention those names if you wanted to. And what was the question? Oh, Donna Presley. Oh God, I'm organized. Hey, Mr. John Schaffner. What do you use to back your portraits and or whatever work, and were you familiar with any of these names that passed?
Some of the portraits that I have done, I've done like cartoon characters and whatnot, and usually like Scooby-Doo I've done a few of, and I use like a marbled green cardstock actually is what I'll put behind that. Then I'll put a layer of cardboard behind that, and it all goes in with the heck are they? Glazier's points I use to hold them in. Other than that, I haven't tried anything else. I painted a couple, black, and that seems to bring the detail out, like you said. Other than that, I mean, that's the only thing I've ever used is cardstock. And as far as the scrollers that have parted ways with us, the only ones I can think of, I know Dirk Bowman. He's been around forever, and he's been around for many years, and he will be missed in this growing community. The only Frank that I can think of is Frank Polsky. Is that who you're thinking of?
Sadly, I don't remember at all. I know there was a popular picture, and this is not to tease him. He was teased in a friendly way by a lot of his friends. There was a picture of him in a grass skirt, like a hula dancer, yeah, from Hawaii. And it breaks my heart that I can't remember his last name because that was a sad passing.
I have no idea.
That was quite a while.
Definitely be missed. I'll tell you that.
Okay, we do have a question. It's from Marcelo Solomon. He says, "What you name?" Or I guess he's talking to me. My name's Charles Deering. We have Sterling Davis, John Shafter, Hans Bierman. I can remember the last names now. Deanna Dalton and Jean with that last name that I keep having trouble with.
Jamguard.
Jamguard, okay. Yeah, that's our names. I'm Charles Deering. This is my wife, Karen Deering. And my daughter's no longer in here. Her name is Casey Deering. All right. So I hope that answers your question, sir. I assume, yeah, sir. Okay. And let me go with Jean next to find out. Did you already answer? Man, I got the memory of a milkshake here.
No. I use on my portraits that I do and stuff like that. I use a black backer board that I get out of Hobby Lobby, and I have used some 1/8-inch Baltic birch and sprayed it, painted it red or stuff like that. But I try to stay with the black backer board. It's a lot easier now. And the names that you mentioned, I knew Dirk Bowman fairly well. As a matter of fact, I have been to his place several different times when I lived up in northern Iowa. And I had some business down in Dubuque, and he didn't live too far from Dubuque. And so up in Platteville, Wisconsin, so I'd swing by there. And he will be missed. He did quite a deal. And we had, by the way, I'm going to kind of put a plug in here. I'm Secretary Treasurer for Scroll Saw Association of the World, SAW. And we did have in our quarterly publication, we did have a nice little write-up about Dirk and that in our last issue. I think it was in October. And the other gentleman, Tom
Little. Yeah, he went by Old Grizz.
Yeah, I had never met him personally, but I knew of him and about him. And that's kind of
Yeah, I think it shocked a lot of people when we lost Dirk Bowman. That people, everybody knows a short and it can happen any day now, but it's still just so shocking when.
I just want to, Charles, I want to say that SAW is working with Karen Bowman in 2015 Midwest trade shows they're going to have up in Dubuque, Iowa next August. We're trying to work with her or somebody for the contest part of the show. And, we'll hopefully get something going on that end.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah, I feel so much for Karen for likely trying to continue the business as well as dealing with the grief of that. I can only imagine. But Hans, do you have a preference when it comes to what you back your portraits and or projects with? And are you familiar with any of those names?
Not familiar with any of the names, Charles. I've been in the big scroll saw world for that long. Very well been sticking to myself. So, but as far as backer boards, I only use 3mm plywood. Again, very cheap material. Painted black or red, whatever color suits the picture best. Other than that, most of my stuff is done on 5mm material, which is about 1/4 inch. So with a 3mm, that's 1/8 inch plywood for backers. And I also need a lot of strength for my backer board because my pieces are so intricate. I'm always afraid of people going to break pieces out of it. So I glue it onto the backer board and it's stuck.
Absolutely. Did I interrupt you, by the way? I'm sorry. Okay. I go back to what I was saying to Sterling. Me choosing to use wood makes it hard to find, store-bought frames that would work because you need such a deep rabbet to drop the piece into. I need to swallow my pride, and I think at Hobby Lobby or Michael's once we saw what looked like almost glossy poster board. The only problem I ran into is that I cut my pictures so large that it's hard to find pieces that'll match that. If you can hide the seams just right, that might work. But I'd probably have a much better variety of framing options if I would go thinner. Nothing. Do we have any questions going on? Okay. No questions. Viewers, if you want to ask anything, there's a Q&A section. Feel free to throw something in there. And I don't know if I asked Deanna or not. Deanna, do you have a preference in backing material, and did you have a comment or anything regarding the names of the people that passed? I'm sitting here waiting as if she's waiting to talk. She has to type, so we'll get back to her if she does have anything. Okay, she says she does not know the people. Do you have a preference for a backer backing your scroll work? I apologize for the dead air, but I got to be fair and let her type first. No portrait experience. Okay, have you ever backed any kind of scroll work at all, whether it be a portrait or anything? Most are freestanding. Okay, that's good to know. And everybody has their little click. One thing I wanted to mention, for those that don't know, I'm very excited to announce that I don't know an exact date yet, but after the holidays, Carol Rothman, the lady that put out 2 books on how to make boxes and bowls and vases out of wood with a scroll saw, I am tickled to death to be able to get her on here. She has committed. We just don't have a date yet, but I definitely wanted to throw that out there. I don't know where we're at time-wise. Do you have a clue how long we've been on? I'm not
It's 5:44.
Okay, we still have 15 minutes. Also wanted to let Sterling talk about his contest he has going on right now. And before he does that, it is not scroll sawing specific, so any woodworker watching can join this. But I'll let Sterling continue from there.
Well, I didn't want to steal your thunder. I mean, it is a scroll sawing show, but basically, scroll sawing is my passion. That's what I love to do. I fall back on, but I love to do woodworking, period, and it can relate to small craft builds, any kind of wood crafting. And basically, I put a challenge out to the YouTube community to do a pallet upcycle challenge. All you do is get a pallet, tear it apart, make something out of it, whatever the project may be. It could be a wine rack, it could be a Christmas tree, it could be a scroll project, whatever you want. Enter the video to me, to my email, or to my Facebook page, and we've got a slew of prizes out there for people to just enter. And it's not going to be judged on good or bad. It's going to be just on the challenge itself. Make something. Get something from a pallet. Create. and you enter, you're entered to win.
And your most recent video said that people could enter up to twice.
Yeah, you can enter up to twice. I give everybody 2 chances to win, and again, it's not. I got Carl Jacobson, a turner, that's going to be entering it. I'm real excited to see what he's going to do with a pallet on a lathe. That's going to be fun. I've got several different projects I'm going to do myself. I'm not eligible to win anything, so I can post as many as I want. But just to give some ideas, you know, to give people some ideas. And I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel. I've already got 4 or 5 entries, some really good ones. I was real pleased with the ones that's been turned in. So as far as prizes go, we got some, you know, the micro jigs giving away their grippers, pair of grippers. I got Clearview Cyclones giving away a mini cyclone, Eureka Zone giving away a universal guide system. A gentleman by the name of Charles Deering is giving away a portrait, beautiful portrait. I've said I hadn't posted it yet, but and feel free, Charles, you could post that and out there. I don't mind at all. I put that in my last video. I just didn't show it, but the portrait is absolutely beautiful. Some horses drinking from water, and it's gorgeous.
I'll let you do the posting of it because I don't want to feel like I'm. Even though I've been given the invitation, I would rather you post it if you choose to do so. I feel like I was. I don't know. I would just feel better if you posted the picture. I know that sounds silly, but hopefully somebody out there knows what I mean. I don't like to push myself out there. I feel like I'd be doing that if I posted it. Look what I'm donating. You know, you know what I mean. Hopefully you do.
Well, I appreciate you being a part of it. And the whole purpose of it is more than to get the woodworking community together, bringing people together, and just to get in your shop and create something, you know, make something.
And to stress what he said before, it is not a contest of who is better at it. It is a challenge. Basically, the challenge is people are challenging themselves to see what they can come up with from upcycling a pallet wood. And I love that aspect of it because it makes it real fair to everybody. You don't have to be this master craftsman. The randomness of it, you can win an awesome prize, and that betters my odds because I have no clue what I'm even going to do yet, and I don't even have a pallet yet, but I will enter at some point. But hopefully I won't end up winning my own prize because I've seen it long enough. Somebody else can have that. Hopefully you got something worked out to where if somebody ends up with their own thing, that could be gone around.
Yeah. Anybody donating prizes is not eligible to win the prize that's donated by them.
Oh, good. I'm getting tired of seeing Charles Deering stuff. I'm saying he's kind of good, but I'm getting tired of his stuff. It's all over my dang house. Ask my wife.
But it's a real simple process. When you submit the video and I add you to the playlist, if your video is number 5 on the playlist, 5 is your number. When I go and put 1 through 50, whatever, in the randomizer, it'll pick a number from 1 to 50. That's the number that wins the said prize that I call out. All right, number whatever wins the micro jigs, you know, the grippers. So.
Okay, for anybody not familiar with a gripper, I guess Sterling, if you go to Sterling's channel, he can probably give you better specifics on what micro jig gripper is. But in the interest of the rest of my notes here, trying to squeeze them in before we run out of time, there are other Google Hangout videos, live shows out there that are not Scroll Saw specific. But if you're interested in watching woodworking related, the show that starts right at 6 p.m. Central is Maritime Woodworkers Weekend Wood. Sterling, help me out here. What is their show called? Weekend Woodworkers Workshop? Something like. Look, Google Maritime Woodworkers.
It's Maritime Woodworkers, yeah.
Yeah, Maritime Woodworkers. It's run by Maritime Woodworkers, which is Jason McGinn and Matt Brender, but they call it something else. It's got workshop and the word weekend in there somewhere. I should have written that down. I knew I was going to forget. That's another Google Hangout show you can watch. If I Shut Up and Shut Up right at 6 o'clock, you should be able to catch that one. At 7:30 p.m. Central, Summer's Woodworking Show is usually hosted by Brian Gidney, but I will be hosting that one alone this evening at 7:30 p.m. Central. I'm usually just the co-host, but we'll have a guy on there named Robert Reiki demonstrating his Shopsmith Mark 7, I believe. And we also wanted to do a shout out for Carl Jacobson and Alan Stratton for doing a ornament challenge. It's now, you do not have to be a lathe turner to enter the contest, but the prizes are all wood turning related, if that matters to you. The only reason I'm not joining is I don't know a thing about turning. I don't have the tools to do it, and even if I won what they're giving, I don't have the lathes to put it all on. So just wanted to throw it out there. Their names were Carl Jacobson and Alan Stratton, and that's all I have. If anybody wants to throw any questions out there, or just talk about anything that's on your mind regarding scroll sawing, or just life in general, I guess I'll start.
The Maritime Woodworkers is the Woodworkers Weekend Shop Talk.
Okay, I was close. Sorry. Woodworkers Weekend Shop Talk.
Yes, sir.
And that's right at 6, so I will do my dangest to just shut up right then. Deanna says, thanks for having me. I had no idea what a Google Hangout was. And it moved on me. Forgive the dead air. Had no idea what Google Hangouts was. I'll try and get a webcam for the next time. Thank you very much, Deanna. It was great to have you, as well as Eugene Damgard, Hans Bierman, John Schaffner, Sterling Davis, and Nick Ferry and Donna Presley in the comments on the YouTube area. Nick didn't ask anything. You didn't come see me. I see how it is, Nick. Anyway, Nick Ferry is another great guy whose channel y'all want to check out. It's not scroll saw related, but he's got a sense of humor and it shows, and he's very talented in many diverse ways. But we have 7 minutes left. Does anybody want to ask anything scroll saw related, or just talk about anything that's been on your mind? I thought I had enough notes to carry me through to the end, but if nobody does, I may have one more topic I can go into.
Well, Charles, I'd like to say, if anybody's watching that hadn't scroll sawed, it doesn't take a lot of money to get into scroll sawing. I mean, my scroll saw is a Harbor Freight scroll saw. Granted, it's a lower end. It's not that great of high quality, but I think it is. It works best for what I know. So, I mean, if it's something you want to get into, you can do it relatively cheaply without having to go buy, $500-600 scroll saw. Do I want to upgrade? Sure, I do. I will eventually, but right now I'm just learning. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah, and they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, I don't know if every state says it that way, but that's how us Southern folks say it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if yours is working for you, go with it. If you're happy with it, go with it. Some vibrate more than others. Another factor to look at is how often you plan to use the saw. I use mine daily unless I'm burned out, which I think happens to all of us no matter what we do. I have a Hagner. It's one of the higher end saws, and I didn't have the money to buy it. I was taking care of an elderly man, and he had a passion for what I did as well. And one of the last things he did for me was buy me a Hagner, and I can't thank him enough. But out of respect for privacy, I won't name his name in case he doesn't want to be known. Jane and John and Hans and Deanna, did y'all have anything y'all wanted to throw out there right quick? If not, we got 5 minutes and I can throw in one last topic.
I wanted to back Sterling up in saying that my first scroll saw was one of those Dremel Moto shops that took a 3-inch indent blade. Thing vibrated like crazy, was noisy as could be. But as I grew in my scrolling, so did my saws. I mean, I went through, I think, 5 or 6 saws until I got my DeWalt, and I'm sticking with that. But, back then, I didn't know any better. I checked it out. I just wanted to try scrolling out, and I fell in love with it, even with that little Dremel. And so as money came in and whatnot, I upgraded and upgraded and upgraded, and finally got my big yeller. And I don't believe I'm going to be upgrading again, but you never know.
Big yeller.
So just hang in there. I mean, if you're interested in scrolling, you pick up a cheap saw, check it out. You know, if you're really that interested in it, then by all means, you can upgrade it at a later date. You don't have to start out with a $500 or $1,000 saw, and you may not be interested that much. Why waste the money if you're not going to use it?
Well, I think I agree 100%. The thing with scrolling is it scared. When I first started, it was 1997. It scared the crap out of me. I said, I'll never be able to learn this thing. But once, and I can't say this enough, and I've said this probably on the last show, and I'll probably say it every show. Once you learn how to use the saw and the blade style you're using, and you can keep it even somewhat on that line, the rest of it is only patience. If you can cut a snowflake, if you can cut a snowman, then you can cut one of my gigantic 50,000 holes. I don't have any 50,000 hole pieces. Some people think I'm getting close, but no matter how how detailed that piece is, you're still just cutting out little shapes with a blade. So once you know how to use that saw, it's just patience. So have faith, Grasshopper. You can do it. We have 3 minutes. One thing I'm going to throw out there. Did we get another question? No, we did not. I just had to look at my beautiful wife. See those eyes? Just makes me melt. Anyway, I'm going to get slapped when the show is over. I wanted to reassure some people, for anybody that didn't know, Creative Woodworks and Crafts went bankrupt. The magazine itself didn't go bankrupt. The people who ran them, I believe it was the publisher, if not the magazine itself, went bankrupt, and everybody was scared to death that Scroll Saw Woodworks and Crafts would go bankrupt. Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts is here to stay. They're not going bankrupt. They're a very well organized business. Not to say the other ones weren't, but a lot of people lost money on that because they didn't see it coming, and I feel very sorry for them. Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts, their website is scrollsaw.com. They also have a forum that can answer any questions that nobody got to today, but that one is here to stay, and it's run by Fox Chapel Publishing. But I only have 2 minutes left, so I just want to say thank you very much, Deanna Dalton, and I got to try to say his last name again, Gene Jamgard. Did I get it?
Hooray, you got it.
All right. It only took me the whole show, but we're good. We got Hans Bierman, John Schaffner, Sterling Davis, Donna Presley joined us in the questions, and I got.
Yeah.
Huh? There's no more? Okay, ignore. She told me to ignore her. She'll hold that against me later.
No, I won't.
Anyway, Nick Berry said, "Hey, buddy." Okay, you've already been over that. We have 2 minutes, and okay, now 1 minute. Somebody say something so I don't look like a complete idiot. I do that too well on my own, but come on, help me out for the last minute.
Something.
Go ahead, Gene.
I said something.
Oh, okay. Well, ask a question, you get the answer. All right. Well, I think with 1 minute, it's probably safe to just wind it down. And thank you all for watching. And I appreciate everyone bearing with me as I learn the process of being live on air and trying to show a shred of maturity. But I'm glad, I've never been in here completely by myself. That's reassuring. Even if it's for sympathy, I appreciate all y'all being there, and I appreciate the 7 viewers we've had. But this will be, unless I get hit by a truck or my dad wants me to go see him and won't take no for an answer, I will be here every weekend, Saturdays at 5 p.m. Central. And there again, do not forget about Maritime Woodworkers show, and that is starting right now, as a matter of fact, so I should shut up. And at 7:30 Central, if you haven't gotten enough of my ugly face, you won't get to see my beautiful wife. I will be covering the hosting of Summers Woodworking at 7:30 p.m. Central. That's Summers Woodworking show on YouTube and Google+. And thanks again to all of y'all for joining. And any of y'all are welcome to stay in the room, but once I cut off the show, it will no longer be live. I appreciate you joining me, Sterling, and I know you need to run, and appreciate you joining me. Deanna Dalton, Gene Jamgard. How many times am I going to say this? Gene Jamgard, Hans Behrman, and John Schaffner. Thank you all so much
Thank you, thank you.
for joining, and the rest of y'all, for a long.